Most people who come to me have already done quite a bit of healing, or some form of healing anyway. And they've read the books, they've had therapy, they've processed some memories, and they understand why they are the way that they are, and they have an awareness around who they are and why things are happening. And for the moment, something shifts. They feel lighter, they feel clearer, they feel hopeful that things are going to change. And then they go back to life, back to work, back to their relationships, back to pressure and responsibility and expectations. And suddenly, life feels hard again. And they're still trying hard. They're still managing themselves, they're still regulating themselves, they're still getting triggered and still having to think about what's actually happening rather than just being able to respond. And that's when people get frustrated, right? They think, I thought I'd healed this. Why am I back here again? What's wrong with me that this keeps happening and keeps coming back? And I just want to let you know nothing is wrong with you. And what is happening is actually quite simple. So healing creates insight and awareness. And life runs on integration. So insight alone just doesn't survive pressure, right? We need to integrate it. So your nervous system doesn't care what you understand. It cares what's actually been trained inside of you. So when you step back into real life, your system defaults back to what's familiar and not what's true. That's why it feels like effort. That's why it feels like you're constantly working on yourself. That's why it feels exhausting. You're trying to live a new truth with an old operating system, and that operating system needs to be revamped. And that's where recalibration and integration comes in. Integration is where the body catches up to the mind, and recalibration is where your baseline actually resets. So it's the difference between I know I'm safe and my body feels safe and knows it. So before I explain why this matters so much, I want to give you something simple that you can feel right now. Okay, it's not a technique to fix yourself. It's just a small doorway into regulation. So it's about breath work. So you take a nice slow breath in through your nose, let it fill your ribs and your chest, your diaphragm, and now slowly exhale through your mouth and make it like you're trying to fog up a mirror. Now you want to make the exhale longer than the inhale, and then pause at the bottom. And then do it again and again and again. What you're doing here isn't calming yourself, you're actually signaling safety to your nervous system. You want to try and do this every day, every morning, every moment that you feel some sort of tension. And it will just relax your nervous system and your body and make you feel safe again. Because most people think that they feel like they're breathing to feel safe. And they're actually breathing into their shoulders and into their chest. And it just doesn't work like that, right? Your body needs to be able to feel safe inside, and breath work is so good at reintegrating that. So breathing in really deeply into your diaphragm is where it starts, and not breathing into your chest and into your shoulders, but actually breathing fully into your diaphragm and then letting out the breath longer than the breath in. And as I said before, like you're fogging up a mirror. And this is where this is where you actually start to feel different in your body. Because otherwise your body never stands down, right? Integration begins here. It's not in trying to understand it, it's not in trying to make sense of it and what's happening, it's actually feeling what's happening on what the change is in your body. And that's why I do the work that I do as a coach. Right, I remember after doing a session on anger with one of my clients, so a lot of things that I do works on emotions and how we're feeling about certain situations, and I go through everything that you've ever been through in your life, And I also pick things out, and normally it's things that you are completely unaware of and that you don't think that you even need to work on. Often they're the ones that you really do. Anyway, I remember doing a session with anger on one of my clients, and it was so powerful. There was so much energy involved and transmitted in the process. And when we finished, she literally, no kidding, looked like a completely different person, like a totally different person. It was crazy. And I remember her saying, wow, I actually feel like a totally different person. I almost don't really recognize like how I'm feeling right now. And it was so beautiful to see. I don't think I'd even really seen her smile until that moment. And it was magical. It was truly magical. And anyway, that's what happens when you fully integrate and change something from like the depths of where it came from. And after that, there's some time it takes to integrate. There's time it takes, and there's some boundaries that need to be put in place. There's a lot of tools and things that I do with my clients to help them integrate slowly into real life that are subtle and are just great things that you can do in general life. Anyway, I'm not here to help people heal more. You know, most of the people I work with are already incredibly self-aware, have a lot of understanding of where they are and what they're doing. I'm really here to help them stop living in effort and to be able to fully transform and release all of the things that are keeping them stuck. Because I was there, that's where it was. And being the other side of that is such a beautiful thing to be able to do, and then to be able to shift other people's lives. So to help their nervous system, your nervous system, learn that life doesn't require constant vigilance, and that presence is safer than control, and that regulation, you know, doesn't mean shrinking or slowing down. It actually just means moving more calmly and with your relaxed nervous system, and being able to feel great in every part of your life. Because without integration, healing becomes maintenance. You feel better and you're always managing yourself, right? So with integration, something deeper shifts. Life stops feeling like something you've had to push through. Life stops feeling like you struggle to make decisions. Like, decisions become clearer, they become easier, they become fast. You don't have to think about everything all the time. Boundaries are there and you feel good doing them, right? You don't have to feel like you're trying to put boundaries in for your life. It actually is natural. And relationships feel less charged. You feel happier, you feel more love for yourself, you feel more love for your partner. And work feels less heavy, it actually feels joyful. You actually choose what it is that you love doing because you have so much self-worth for yourself. So you stop trying to be the healed version of yourself and you just live as yourself, the way that you were born and put on this planet to do so. And that's the difference, right? Healing opens the door. Integration teaches you and your body that it's allowed to actually be the person, the human experience that it wants to be, and walk through this beautiful life and stay there, right? So if you've done the work and you're tired of still putting in tons of effort, it's not a failure, but this is an invitation to stop fixing and to start recalibrating, to stop analysing and to actually start embodying this in a full body, whatever you want to call it. Let it be beautiful and let your nervous system catch up to the truth that you truly already know about yourself. And that's where the real freedom actually begins and actually starts. So if you want to learn more about what I do and how my coaching works, then send me a message and I'll let you know. All right, lots of love. Hope this has been helpful.